We're here with the magic of the musicals, and we've made our way to the Palace Theatre here on Broadway. No better location to have a great musical, Legally Blonde, with a phenomenal star. Laura Bell Bundy, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Double-barreled name. I'm liking that. That means you're posh.
Yeah, I guess so. I think my mom either thought I was a Southern belle or I was posh.
Laura, the first time I saw you was as the understudy in Wicked, and you weren't an understudy. You were clearly the star of the show. You outshone everybody, and I dropped you an email, which you didn't reply to, by the way.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Did it go to me or did it go to the website?
I sent it to the website, and they didn't even bother replying.
Oh, man, I'm so sorry.
I was so blown away by your cuteness, and that's obvious. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
As a deeply unattractive man, it's just so nice to be in the presence of someone gorgeous.
Thank you. I sweat sometimes.
Oh, really? Oh, well, that's nice to know you have a slight fault.
And a little bit of gas every once in a while.
Lovely. Well, you're making yourself sound even more attractive. And let's be honest, before we go any further, there's no way that a girl like you would ever talk to me in real life, is there?
Of course, because of your accent.
Yeah, that's the only reason.
Yeah.
So anyway, back to Wicked. I saw you in that and you just stole the show. You were absolutely phenomenal. I don't normally write to anybody because I've got better things to do with my life, but you were so inspiring. Congratulations, because you're completely unique and you're that wacky character that's perfect for Legally Blonde.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Wacky and all. You know, what's interesting is that the director of Legally Blonde, he choreographed Hairspray, and he choreographed it in London as well, and they won a whole bunch of Olivier Awards. And I told him, I said, when he got the nomination, I said, so do you have a date? And he was like, are you going to be there? And I'm like, no, I'm not going to be there. But if you ask me to be your date, I'm going to be there.
And he didn't accept.
He didn't ask me to be his date because he knew that I would have to miss a show. He came to see me do Wicked. And unbeknownst to me, that was one of the reasons why he wanted me to be in Legally Blonde, was because of my performance in Wicked. And then he knew me from doing Hairspray with him because I was in the original cast of Hairspray. And I was the mean girl, Amber Von Tussle.
Then we come to the voice and the singing voice. It is so brilliant. It's almost operatic in places, which is so unique. How did you manage to create that? Were you born with it?
I had like a singing teacher, and then there was a man that lived in my building whose name is Franco Iglesias, who's Julio Iglesias' cousin, and he was like an opera singer, and teacher for people who went to the Met. And we lived in the same building in New York, and my mom was like, will you work with my daughter? And he was like, yes, I bring her up. And that was like singing Italian.
Do that again, I love that.
Like my mother?
No, Franco.
Oh, yeah, Franco. He was... He was like, Debolo bene. He had like the worst voice, sounded like this. I was like, this guy is teaching me. But I had to sing like all this Italian aria stuff when I was like 12 because my mom like didn't want me to be like one of those little kid belters that was going to lose their voice. It was really good training for me. The only thing is now, you know, you do 8 shows a week and you're belting every night, that some of those high notes kind of go away, but they come back, you know. I noticed about myself, when Broadway was on strike and I got like 2 weeks off, that like everything completely healed up, and it was like, oh great, you know, if you take care of yourself enough, then you can recover from the damage that you do.
And let's be honest, this isn't a show where you come on and go off as the star. I mean, you're virtually on through the entire thing, and you've got the big numbers. It is all centered around you. You are it. 2 questions. How can anybody possibly understudy you as well as you do it, because they don't get the chance to practice? And B, how are you even standing on a 2-show day? I mean, it's a remarkable amount of effort, and you're so small and cute.
Oh, thank you. You are just... you could interview me anytime.
Well, you don't reply to my emails.
Well, yeah. Well, now I will. There's like 3 open cans of Red Bull in the dressing room right now. It's caffeine, I guess. But I'm actually competitive with myself, and I like the challenge of it. And I chill in between the 2 shows. I read or, steam, or, like I said, play cards, or I do something totally try to take my mind away so that I can have energy for the second show. I get through it. I'm a pretty energetic person in general. But, in terms of somebody else doing this role, I think that there are a lot of people capable of doing it. And I have great understudies, and they've gone on and, they do their understudy rehearsals during the week. And it took me a long time to call in. Like, we started rehearsals on November 1st, and the first day that I missed work was August 1st of the following year. So I think she was like, finally... she's calling out, and then I was a little bit more like, after I called out the first time, I was like, oh, well, it's not so bad. I'm, the first day you call out, you're like, oh, this show's going on without me, my identity, blah, blah, blah. But I've gotten more okay with it,
And I suppose you understand the importance of being the understudy, because that's really how you're here today, proving yourself through Wicked and those other shows.
Right, yeah. I mean, when I stood by for Kristen, I knew when I was going on. Like, they hired me and they already had this block of dates that she was going to be away. But it is one of the most difficult jobs, because when you're understudying someone who is the originator of a part, even though you are seeing the originator and you actually get to know intimately what they're doing, you still have to kind of make it your own so it feels authentic to you, and that's a challenge. And then you know that everybody's coming to see them, so you're like, well, they're going to be disappointed, but they could be less disappointed if I do a good job. So there is that. It's actually a really good thing for your ego, I think, at some point, to understand how it feels to be an understudy or a standby. Because I actually think that there are people out there that sometimes go on and they do better jobs than the people who have the roles, because they're so present when they go on, and people do it for a long time and they start to go through this, the glazed eye over, you know what I mean? Which is something as a performer that I try not to do. Like, I try to stay really, really present in my performance, no matter if I've done it 400 times.
And also, your heart must sink when you're the understudy stood on the side of the stage and that man comes on at the beginning and says, ladies and gentlemen, at this evening's performance, the star of the show's not here. You've got somebody...
Oh,
You hear that, don't you? That audible intake of breath, like, we've wasted $105 on a show that we're not going to see the star. And then you've got to go on. Thankfully, you did a great job, so let's not talk about that anymore, because you are now the star of this show.
And Shirley MacLaine was like an understudy, and like she went on and... Yes? Hey, I'm doing an interview. You want to come in and say hi? Oh, they left.
Yeah, they've gone already.
They're going to show me their clothes. Oh, no, they're here. Hello, girl.
Hi.
This is Asmaret.
Hi, how you doing?
This is Haven.
Hello.
Hi.
Hot water?
Honey and whiskey.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. The Jim Beam's there, the makers. Oh, don't open the makers, because it's a collector's item. But, yeah, take whatever you need. I'm kidding. Yes, I do have bourbon in my dressing room.
Now we know how you get through the show.
Are you making hot toddies? Don't get too drunk before the show.
No. It's only medicinal.
I'm getting a whole
I
different
want a
insight
copy
into how
of
you
this.
do.
Just a tiny bit.
A lot of
Oh, that
we're
is
having some
hilarious.
technical difficulties.
I am seeing the show tonight, so...
Oh, good. This is not bad. You're in for a treat.
Yeah, this
Let
will be
me
a
tell you,
great
you wouldn't
show.
know the difference whether they had a drink or not, because their performance is always drunk.
Yes, basically. Thank you.
Nice
I
to
love
see
you
you.
guys.
Nice to meet you.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I love these people. What were we saying?
Let's very finally talk about that feeling of seeing your name on the billboards and your poster everywhere. Every girl's dream who's in musical theatre must be to be in a Broadway show, and then to have a show focused around your face, which this one is. Anywhere you go in New York, you see Legally Blonde, and then we see you. Is there any way of expressing how exciting that is the first time you drive up Broadway and see your billboard about 100 feet in the air?
Yeah, in fact, it was actually on tape. Broadway.com filmed my reaction to it. And it was like one of those, like, am I dreaming? Is this really happening kind of experiences for me? Because yes, I mean, I was like the 6-year-old girl that wanted the Tony Award instead of the Oscar, like I was a musical theater fan, or a theater fan in general, forever. And that live performance is like, so anyway, so getting this show and being able to originate the lead, and then they actually chose to use my image on the poster, which they don't always do, which was really sort of crazy and bizarre, that I was representing this show. So yeah, I mean, I my first thought was, oh my God, ironically, and and that, like, it happened kind of thing, like that thing that you think about as a kid, that, like, wow, those dreams that you have, as superficial as they may be, they can come true. And then in the second thought I had was, okay, I can't take this too seriously. I can't let this go to my head. Like, I literally said that on camera or something like that, that I immediately went to that place of, like, I need to stay grounded, and this isn't what really life is about. Like, it was this weird, surreal thing for me. And I still feel that way. I feel like at the end of the day, like, your life is not, it's not about all of this.
Well, because as quickly as it's given to you, it can be taken away.
Yeah, and I'm leaving the show in the summer, and my identity is so attached with Legally Blonde right now, but it won't be at all. Like, what am I going to do on those nights a week when all I've been doing is staying home so that I can stay healthy? That my sense of self-worth cannot be completely attached to this show. So, now I'm doing a lot of work to try to, make my identity more about really who I am.
And the reality of this business is I once took over a breakfast show from a big star, and I said, I'm so sorry I'm doing this. He said, don't worry, by the time I've left the car park, they will have forgotten my name. And that's so true, isn't it? By the time the next person's face is on the poster and their name's under it, they're the new star and you're forgotten.
Right. But that is, it's actually a good thing, because when you go through that a lot, then you realize that what is really important to you in your life and what you need to stay focused on even while you're doing the show. And, I always feel like the people here and this show means something, to me that whether I'm doing it or not, I care about the show. I care about the people here, and I care about what happens to the show and how successful the show is, because I help to create it with them. And so I have even with the new girl that's coming in, they're finding the replacement, I have a vested interest in helping them find this person because I care about what happens to this show. And I had that feeling with Hairspray too. But it doesn't happen a lot, where you really do feel like you can attribute a lot of your growth to a production.
And there aren't many roles where that would be possible anyway. Very finally, about the emotional attachment to it, do you ever question why you? I mean, there are a million of you around, females who want to be in musical theatre. You were the one that they chose. How does that play in your mind when you look at the millions of people who want to be in show business today with creations of American Idol and Pop Idol and all those shows? Everybody wants to be famous. You're the one they chose, and they almost knew it was for you before they put it on stage. What a compliment that is.
Yeah, it's kind of, it's the amazing thing about synchronicity, I guess, and the way the universe works. I have to attribute it to that. And luck, opportunity meets preparation. I was prepared. I was ready. I'd been doing the business since I was a kid. And in terms of musical theater, I had, as an actress, I had grown to that point. As a person, I have a lot of things in common with this character. So that all kind of fit for me. Like this show, this role, and the creative team, it kind of magically came together. But yeah, that's one of those things where you do feel really fortunate and lucky and blessed and all of those things that you, out of all those people with dreams, got ones that came true, But I think it's the way you think about what you want, too.
Hey, Tiffany, if you're around, you want to come up with your golf shoes if you haven't already done it. Tiffany, if you want to come up with your mom's shoes.
That's our stage manager, Kim. She just lost 100 pounds this year.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
She's excited.
She's excited. She's actually, I think she's going to London to run. She's been marathoning. But anyway, so, I feel lucky. And I think, also it's about the way that you think about the way you believe in yourself, too. I put it out there that I could do anything. And I believe that I know what my limitations are. But when it comes to, when it came to Legally Blonde, it was like, oh, yeah. If I don't get this role, I need to leave the business, But I was in a place, because I had already done Hairspray and I had already done Wicked in terms of my career. I was in a place where the next step would be to originate a leading role on Broadway. So that it was... And even when I was doing the readings and the part wasn't mine, I would get sent auditions for other things like television shows that would be 5-year commitments. And I would go and audition, and then they'd want to screen test me. And then I would go, do I want this or do I want Legally Blonde? And I didn't have a guarantee of getting Legally Blonde, and I turned the television shows down. And because I had a feeling like that Legally Blonde was going to happen. And some people will say that is crazy. But I think that if you feel like you have a strong intuition and that you have to follow it, because it almost is always right. And when I don't follow my gut, then I'm angry with myself, you know?
Congratulations on being you. You are gorgeous. You're fabulous. You stick out a mile. You've got an incredible voice that is completely unique. And thank you for talking to me. I'm going to get over the lack of response on the email. I'm going to take this as a way forward with the interview, and I'm going to take some heart from that you were at least willing to meet me in person.
Yes. And you know what? Listen, they're bringing Legally Blonde to London, I hear, and I'm really pushing for going over there and opening it, unless they want to make British actress big blonde hit. But if I go over there, we'll have to go out and, you know, grab a bourbon if they sell it there.
We won't even mention the whiskey story. We haven't time. You've got a show to do.
Right, okay.
Laura, thank you very much for talking to me. Legally Blonde is on here at the Palace. It's the big theatre right in the middle of Broadway. No better place to find a theatre and a great show with a unique performer. Thank you for talking to me.
And you know you're in Judy Garland's dressing room.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Should I be impressed by that?
If you like Judy Garland.
Not really.
Okay.
I know this is show business and there's a lot of it around, but not really. I'm not that bothered.
All right, well...
I'm just glad to be here with you.
Okay.
Just leave it there.
Okay.
We're doing so well. Let's play a record.